Hey guys, how's it going? This is Dave Sebastian, coordinator of mentoring arts programming with Wayside Youth and Family. Sorry about that, I'm a little too far from my camera. In any case, this is Dave Sebastian with Wayside Youth and Family. I am the coordinator of mentoring arts programming, and I'm very excited to be here with you guys today. We're going to be running our virtual tag program, which is a sorry about that. Excuse me. Which is our road version of our Open Studio program, which we normally run on. This is the road version of our tag program, which we do in the community at locations that young adults find themselves. Let me give you a little bit of information about my program, and then we'll get into what this is going to be about. Okay. So my program is a program of Wayside Youth and Family, which is a human service agency out of Western Mass. They're working with young adults and families. I'm specifically working in a partnership with the Department of Mental Health to work with young adults between the ages of 16 and 26, and to try to engage those guys in the art projects that I'm tasked with creating. I run the programs throughout Central Mass, and we call that program TAG, and that stands for The Art Group. Very creative, I know. But in any case, that is how we've gotten here, and why I'm here. And so this is the virtual version of the TAG program. Here, obviously, because of the pandemic, we're not allowed to work directly with young adults in the community, especially going town to town or state to state in some cases, isn't okay. So we're running this from the home studio in Shirley. This is my place. And today we're going to be working on a project about RC trucks. This is the RC truck that I'm customizing. The last time I was on YouTube, what we were doing was building the stencil for the outline of the side. Unfortunately, that project took a little while, so we didn't quite get into laying the stencils out or anything like that. I think we have to resize that stencil a little anyway. But a big part of the project is Chester Cheetah. Now, I completely began this project because I really like Chester Cheetah, right? And so he seemed like a fun guy to draw, and anything that can kind of jazz up your RC truck is a way to motivate yourself to use it more, and be able to share it with folks. In my town, there's a great RC place called RC Excitement in the town of Fitchburg, on Bemis Road, and they have an outdoor obstacle course for RC trucks. My truck isn't one of those really fast trucks. It's a rock climber. So that's what this truck is, And what's really cool is this is a Red Cat truck, and the entire body comes off, meaning you can attach multiple other bodies to it. If you want to change its shape in some subtle ways, it does have a roll cage inside, so you can't make it not a truck like that, but you can buy plastic bodies, like replacement bodies for that, and paint them however you want. It's really cool and fun. It's part of RC that I didn't know existed, and it's been really enjoyable to work with. So what we're going to do today is we're going to find a couple of Chester Cheetah images. We're going to download those off the internet, bring them into Procreate, and try to create our own version of the Chester Cheetah character. So this is the truck, like I was just saying, and the Chester Cheetah image that I'd like to build today would be having his head back in this area, and actually I guess I'd want to have his head at the windshield and have him laid out driving a truck from above. That's my idea right now. The other idea is to go with more of a Big Daddy Roth kind of vibe, which is a very small. Oh, excuse me. It's a breaking stuff around the place, which is a very small car with a really big character sticking out of it. I've had any number of ideas about what to do with this truck. Probably my favorite one up until this was to glue zombies all over it and paint it like zombies, so it would be like the zombie rider. Problem was when you roll the truck, which happens to me often, you break anything that's on it off. So I'm going to try to do something more like a paint job. That's also one of the things that's cool about the multiple bodies, right? Is it if you roll it and you crack it, hey, great news, it's time to customize another truck. In fact, I was thinking maybe I'd buy a few and customize a few so you could swap it out depending on what you wanted to do or what the event was. You know what I mean? Or if it's dark or light, like this Cheeto one is going to be kind of bright because Cheetos, their color scheme is orange and yellow. So it's going to be bright, So that's what we're going to work on today. I hope everybody out there is doing okay. I know that things have not exactly been great. I super miss all the young adults I normally work with. I have a studio in the basement of Tempo Young Adult Resource Center in Framingham, which is at 68 Henry Street. And, I run an open studio program there every Wednesday and Friday from 10:30 to 3. I get an awful lot of young adults that I like to spend time with, and I've really been missing you guys. If any of you guys are out there catching this broadcast, thanks for tuning in. And, just know I missed you. Like Abba, our therapy chicken, I miss her. I miss her owners a lot, And I miss all the young adults that normally come to hang out. Ja Real, if you're out there, I miss you, buddy. You know what I mean? So all you guys, Sarah. So once we're back, we will be engaging those guys once again. I am on Facebook every Wednesday and Friday now from noon to 2, trying to do a similar idea. A big part of Open Studios is an opportunity for you to create with whatever you want in a safe space. And I'm really just there to, help you with specifics for the given gear. What I've done there is I've filled the studio with media and tools that I use. So I'm pretty used to all of them, familiar with them. So the opportunity to teach the young adults, mentor the young adults, because it's not really teaching, it's more like having them watch me do some projects, is very, very successful. And so this program is really about sort of having an opportunity to create artwork or a space. I was thinking yesterday, excuse me, nothing's worse than yawning during your live stream. I was thinking yesterday that there's a great opportunity to motivate yourself to create artwork. I myself have been spending about 2 hours every day focused on creating artwork on camera. And so if you're on camera doing that, you have to do it. You got to stick with it. You got to commit to it. If things go wrong, you have to fix them, including technical problems as well as artistic problems. It's great. So I think that anybody out there, whether you watch my broadcast or not, I'm not, no pressure, set aside a couple of, how about we'll start with a couple of minutes, but it would be great if it could be a couple of hours every day with the intention of create artwork. If that works out for you, great, or, move on to a half hour, maybe an hour. This 2 hours has been really, really good for me. I draw and paint often, but I'm not great with deadlines because I'm not as disciplined as I wish I was. And these projects have helped me create a significant amount of discipline in the process of creating my work. And so I think that anybody could gain from that, So today we're going to be together for about an hour and a half. Excuse me. And we're going to talk about Chester Cheetah. If you guys don't know about Chester Cheetah, he is easily the slickest advertising character, I think, around. What's his competition? You know what I mean? Like, the Keebler elves, although today, cartoon characters have never been more popular in advertising any number of things. But Chester Cheetah goes all the way back to the mid '70s, when he was a hipster, cat. No kidding, no pun intended. So what we want to do is we want to try to create an entirely new drawing of Chester Cheetah, but we're going to start with some of the drawings, or some of the artwork that has been used promotionally already. So we're going to start by searching Google, looking for some Chester Cheetah images, downloading them. Jesus. Guys are making me yawn. Downloading them and bringing them into Procreate and working on them and see how it goes. You know what I mean? So that's the project for today. This is our Procreate screen. What we need to do in here is I just got to get a little bit more of my equipment running. It'll just take 1 second. Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to do that. Go right in here. 1 sec, you guys. These are some of my reference for this project. I keep on the screen in front of me. Whoops. So I have to oftentimes, boot up the machine and stuff. And I apologize for the time it takes me to do that. It's kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. To coin a phrase. All right. Almost there. Where are you? There you go. Oh, that would be why. All right. Nothing worse than not being prepared. Well, hold that thought, people.
You're about as loud as you.
We can't play anybody else's stuff. It's very important. If you guys don't know about it, you cannot, under any circumstances, play anybody else's music on live streams, because then you get a warning from Facebook, and they mute the part of your video where the music is playing. Now, if you play a whole record while you're working, they mute the whole video. There is a way out of it, which is that you go in and promise you won't try to make money off of it, and then they oftentimes free you from or allow to unmute your video. You know what I mean? So enough ridiculous talk from me and junk. So let's take a look really quickly at... Okay, whoops. So we switch cameras a little bit to get back a little so I can show you some stuff, right? So here's the iPad Pro that I'm working with, which is the 12.9 Generation 2. This one has a slightly larger screen than the other iPad Pro. I do have both, but I find this one to be slightly quicker, and like I said, the screen's a little bigger. Now, the only complaint I have is that it's a different plug. I don't know why Apple is changing plugs. This is like I think the third time they've done it to me. It's very frustrating, but it seems to be quick as far as charging, and it does the job. Now, the thing that I hated the most about the last one was about how the Apple Pencil charged in it. So this port here on the bottom where the plug goes in was where the Apple Pencil plugged in and charged in that spot. This is a really terrible design. I think I actually have one right here. I wanted to show you guys. Nah. Yeah, it's around here somewhere. Anyway, it would plug in the end, and this is a bad plan because you're going to break it. Now, I have 12 of those pencils, 13 iPads, and probably 20 Generation 1 Apple Pencils. I've never broken one, but when I first saw it, I was sure I was going to, you know. This one has a much better idea, which is the Apple Pencil charges on a magnetic port on the side. It's way, way better. And I like, and it's really quick. It also pairs when you plug it in here. It used to be the other pad. You'd have to stick it in the end. It would ask you to pair. It was pretty reliable and quick, and that wasn't a problem. But it's, you know, one more step. You know, these days it's every keystroke. You know, we have to you know, consider what every keystroke takes, like how long it takes, you know. I once worked, once had a efficiency expert come into my job, and he pointed out to me I went to the file menu way too much and was losing probably like a half an hour every day of the process of swiping up to the file menu. I think that's an exaggeration, I hope. But since then, I've really stopped using the file menu. You know, like now, or I stopped using swiping up to it and use a keyboard shortcut to get me where I need to go. It has helped me a lot. So we're gonna get right into this thing because there's enough talking from me. You know, you don't really want to hear from me, you guys. It's totally ridiculous. So this is Procreate, a really great program. I really like working with it, and whoops, sorry about that. We want that to be the opposite. These are a number of the projects that I've done in here. I've had, you know, it's been a lot of fun. It's really interesting. You know, it's super flexible. There's tons of options. You can really do anything you could do on paper, but it's slightly less messy, obviously. So I've done, you know, a lot of stuff. I've done projects for, you know, pay projects. I've done, try to get myself to a spot where I'm not blocking everything. Number of different projects for different artists, you know, I mean, different clients, you know. It's just a really great program, and I really enjoy using it. One of my favorite things that you can get from this program is using the playback, right? So this is a fish, couple of fish that I've been working on. If you go over here and click on the wrench and then on on video, you can hit a time-lapse replay, and it'll show you everything, you know, you did when you were drawing this. The flashing is when I'm turning layers on and off, which is something I do a little bit too much, but it is, you know. So this, this time lapse is about, you know, maybe like a minute and a half long. So I'd like to just let it play if you guys want to check it out. This is like really a lot of what you can do, you know, like and I think that everybody should be giving this program a chance because it is really powerful, and everything I've heard says that it's the it's the wave of the future. You know, if we can get away from using paper for all of our sketching and stuff like that, you know, we'd save tons of paper. Then of course, like, this is keeping this record of everything you've done to it, and of course the pieces themselves. Now I hear a lot about folks saying, well, there's no physical piece of artwork here, and a lot of that is about, like, you know, being tactile and that kind of stuff, which I absolutely get, and I think is a completely legitimate consideration. So what I like to do is I like to create a piece of artwork, take a picture of it, bring it into photo. When I feel like I've sort of hit a wall on the original drawing, I bring it into Procreate and I try some things because you can't undo them as well or as easily on a physical piece of artwork as you can within the program, obviously. 2 fingers undo. This is like probably one of the most powerful things, ever. I've used Photoshop for years and I love it. And that undo is probably the thing that got me into it initially, even before layers and the vast tools that Photoshop, offers. So Procreate, interestingly enough, I think is the first seriously threat to Photoshop because and Illustrator, because Illustrator is really the where Procreate's coming from as far as physical drawing and that kind of stuff. It's the first chance to be like we were jokingly calling it a Photoshop, like beater, because this is what I use Photoshop for, being able to draw and create artwork in that way digitally. But Photoshop is a little bit on the inaccessible side to some people. A lot of people feel like they couldn't learn it. The Photoshop homepage is really vast. There's definitely a lot on there. And it's intimidating to some folks, so Procreate is the opposite. Procreate is incredibly simple. There's a really small amount of keys, of buttons, basically on the home screen. You can pick up the Apple Pencil and be working with this in just a matter of a couple of minutes. These are pressure sensitive. They even have some like keyboard shortcuts within the pencil. You can jump back and forth from pencil to eraser with 2 clicks. It's a pretty awesome option. I really I overuse it, I'm sure. So that was the live stream. Thanks for taking a look at it. So that's what what I've created from a drawing. Like I had already created this drawing in mostly full color. Wish I had it right here and I could show it to you. But this is where I went from there because I was having trouble getting really saturated whites, and I wanted to be a much more cartoony kind of a look. A little bit like Spy vs. Spy by Proeus. If you guys out there don't know Proeus, please find out about him. Absolutely a brilliant guy. So let's go back into here and see what kind of trouble we can get into. So the first thing we're going to do, this is Procreate, but the first thing we want to do is we want to go over here. This is, of course, Google. And so now we want to say Chester Cheetah. Right, and we get this stuff, and go into images. Obviously, I go with image tools. Image tools is going to give you this drop down of the option of size, color, usage rights. Like if you go to size and you hit large, they're going to work as well as possible in additional programs. Like if we get really close to something and the resolution is bad, obviously it's going to look like junk. So we want to get large. Whenever you're searching for downloadable artwork, always use large. Now, the next thing I'd be required to say to you guys is check under licensing. And if you go in here and hit labeled for reuse, you're not going to see much Chester Cheetah because Chester Cheetah is a trademarked character. So I usually say, don't filter because we're really just looking for concept. We're not going to do a painting of Chester Cheetah and try to sell it. All we're doing is looking for reference in the process of for our art creation project. All right, so we want to look here for something, something that looks like we might want to work on it. I think this 4th one is pretty gross. So we poke around. This one here is kind of interesting. So all you want to do is hold your finger on it. You'll get this pop-up, or I get this pop-up, and I just say add to photos. Now that particular image of Chester is in there. You know, they've got this new Chester who is like a 3D animation. I'm no fan. You know, I don't think it looks as cool. You know, the old Chester is far cooler. Like, look at this. How can you not go wrong with that Chester right there? Oh, that one's classic too. Now, some of this stuff is, you know, by definition on TV, so the quality of it goes down. Like this image right here is definitely on TV. So what do you do there? Like this one's kind of relevant because he's driving, he's in a sideways pose. You know, this might work for us. So just going to do the same thing, you know, and just say, you know, we're going to add this whole page to our photos so that we can clip him out. And these are all GIFs, so just add that guy to photos. Take a look through here, and if we can find anything else that looks like a good image of our friend. This is somebody else's drawing. Awful lot of fan art for Chester, which I think is great, but it's not going to help us. Anything else in here that looks, you know, that we could work with it? So the next thing you do is you go up here and you delete that and you say Cheetos. And what Cheetos are going to give us, even before we go to the logo, is physical bags of Cheetos. So this will give us a lot less fan art of Chester Cheetah, because these are actually photos of you know, Cheeto bags. So being, you know, I like up here where there's a Cheeto, few examples of what Cheetos look like, you know. It's pretty funny. So we take a look at our first one, you know, like we already got that one, you know, that's his sideways shot skateboarding, but we can always grab it again. Just get in there, click it, add to photos. And then we check out, these bags all have the same art on them except this one, which has fire coming out of his mouth. Kind of a cool graphic fire. So then we go over here and take a look at some different products. You know, we've basically looked at the fire one here. The Chipotle Ranch. I'm learning a lot about Cheetos on this project because who knew that they made this much stuff? Like, I really just found out that there's a Cheeto chicken sandwich at KFC. I can't wait to go there and try it. If anybody's tried it, put in the comments and tell me what you think, because I'm super interested in finding out, you know, what's up. Here's some baked Cheetos that didn't have as much of a very good shot. You know, wasn't much Chester Cheetah in there. What about this one? Oh yeah, look at that. That's different. A Cheetos mix. Alright, so I don't know, we're getting close to having probably as much as we really need. That's probably 5 or 6 different shots of Chester. So see, this one is more of the computer generated Chester that I don't really like quite as much, you know. Alright, so now we should have pretty much enough. So then we go back to our friend Procreate, and now we're going to bring our Chester reference images over. Sorry, guys. Cameras are moving around on me. All right, so the next thing we want to do is you want to hit Gallery. Whoops. Don't hit Procreate. I don't think I erased any of them anyway. So we're in here in the gallery. You hit the plus sign. I usually just go with screen size because, well, that's the biggest size we can work with. Go over here to the wrench, and we want to take a look at some of the options in here. The first one here is add, and we want to say insert a photo. And then we look at all the Chester photos that we just picked up, and we select one. And it's going to place it there for us. Now we're going to make this guy a little smaller, put him over here on the side. And click on our wrench again and say insert a photo. Go back over here again, grab that one, place that one up here, go back to the wrench, insert a photo. I wish there was a quicker way to do this, you know. Seems like there probably is, but I'm not sure what it is. These ones are like the same piece of artwork, you know. Alright. I'm really just adding all of our stuff so we could take a look at it all and see, you know, what looks like it can help us and what, you know, doesn't. I think this is the last one. All right. Is there one more? All right. So that is all of them. So you can go wherever you want once they're brought in. They're all on their own layers. Up here is our layer panel. So a cool thing about the layers panel is you can hold on one and all the rest turn off. And that's what we want to do at first, because, you know, whoop, 2 fingers undo. Because, whoops. Got to move this guy over a little. All right, get him in the middle here. Although, yeah, we'll get him in the middle here. All right. Whoop, sorry about that, guys. Yikes. Everything's just going crazy over here in the Shirley studio. It's completely ridiculous. Whoops. Sorry about that. All right. So we go back inside of here and take a look at Chester. You know, we got all of our controls as far as what we can do. And that's pretty cool. For this one, we're going to go into the layers panel. We're going to click it with 2 fingers. And as we drag, we take away some of the opacity on that layer. And then we go back to our layers panel. Whoops. And we just add another one right in front of that. Right. So now we're back in our brush tool. The brush tool, the brush that I'm using right now, is, you know, I have my own brushes pulled out. I like this brush here, which is the ink brush B. Pretty sure that's an imported brush that I found online. I love finding custom brushes online because this is something artists can do to make money that didn't honestly exist, you know, like 5 years ago. You know, Procreate is an awesome program, and one of the great things about it is sort of the open source of it and them allowing people to create things that interact with it. It's just brilliant, you know. So give it a try. All right. So this is a custom brush. You know, we can get in real close. Procreate's move options are all related to our fingers. So that's what we do. What we're going to do is grab a real quick trace of Chester's head. So we have it as a reference. I am not trying to do this exactly as it is. I'm doing it like sort of in my own, in a loose way, so that I know it the way I would draw him, you know. He's not difficult to draw. He's a fairly simple character, but he has big personality, you know what I mean? So I like that about him. And of course, being a cheetah. Chester Cheetah was probably my first advertising character that I ever wanted to draw. 2 fingers undo, 2 fingers undo. Oh, sorry about that. Because he was really interesting. You know, the other guy that I really wanted to draw was Cuckoo from Cocoa Puffs, because he was totally crazy, and I really liked that. All right, we got to get this his white section, a couple of the spots. All right, whiskers. This one has his helmet on. I don't know how I feel about the helmet. I'm thinking I might, he might not have a helmet because he's fearless. A fearless cheetah. Okay. We throw some teeth down here. Some more over here. Of course, a tongue, which is awesome. They included it because for sure I would have included it. Just pull it around, take a look. Another thing I really like about Procreate is being able to turn your artwork however you want. I'm definitely a turner when it comes to working on paper, so being able to do it digitally. You can of course do that in Photoshop too, but it just doesn't feel as native. Oh no. 3 fingers redo. Alright. Grab our eraser or whatever this is. Take a look at it. Not there. It's on there. Well, that doesn't really matter because we're going to get rid of that layer anyway. So we're going to turn off our Cheeto layer. I'm going to get in here and take a look at this. Turn our Cheeto layer back on for a sec. There's not really a color picker tool in Procreate. It's really just your fingers. So what you do is you put your finger on the color you want. It'll pick it, and then you're good to go. Now this color here is pretty muted. So what I was thinking about doing is going up to one of our Cheeto bags, turning it on, whoops, and going from this color here, which is the color that he is, without my adjusting the opacity of the layer. And then we just go in and turn that one off again and go back to working on the one we've been working on, which is this one. So now Procreate does a cool thing where if you have a closed shape, you can fill it by simply dragging and dropping, but you have to be on the layer you want to use. By dragging and dropping. So you see there, like that did a pretty good job, filled up like really a lot of that area. In fact, the only area that it overthought was right here. Now one thing is a really good idea. Let's undo this. Is to work on yet another layer, which is your color layer. So that you can isolate out your background drawing and your colors. Now, one of the things I'm going to lose on that would be the selection, like the ability to select this, to drag and drop into this background. Well, I think we'll just go with it this way. And we'll just, instead of erasing, we'll just go in here and grab white and just paint. Right? We can make our brush a little bit bigger. See that? And like then we're just painting real quick, taking away the yellow down there that we don't want to be there. Whatever color it is, orange, I guess. Right? And we can get real close to see what a crappy job we did, or I did. Right? Try to make sure you get everything out that you don't want to be there. Then we can just switch back to black. Bring our brush size down again and come right through here and bring back the whisker. Bring back the outline. Erase a little. Boop. Want to bring the eraser size way down so you can hardly see it. We'll let them keep that one. Right. Pull back a little, take a look at it. This will be a me thing, like giving him some nostrils. Alright. Let's dump our background for a sec. We'll take a look at where we're at with Chester's face. Oops. All right. So what other parts of our guy are that color? If we select this color, which if we go in here, we'll see the color that we selected, right, is that color there. So back here, whoops. So back here we want to bring that color in, but we need our brush a bit bigger. So we can fill in a little bit of the background, a little bit of his back, you know. So I'm really doing this part here just as a physical reference or a possible shot of his head. I'm not totally sure. All right, let's pop up our reference again. And he does have that stuff back here with his black sunglasses. So I like what's happening with this guy, right? So what I'm going to do is add another layer, and this layer is going to be a little bit sketchy, and we're going to turn on one of the other photos, our other reference. Since we got the same one twice there, we don't need that one. We'll be on the layer with this one. Okay. Whoops. It just, whoa. Whoa. Grab the arrow. Bring this guy over here. Make him a little bigger so that we can take a look at it. Right. Down here we got a couple of options. This is the one that we want to use. Doesn't matter that the Cheetos are backwards, because here we're just going to use another Chester head right over here. So that's all we need. I mean, maybe I guess we can make it a little bit bigger. We turn that guy off. We go on to the new layer that we were working on, this guy, but unfortunately it was behind the inserted image. So now we have it in front of it. Inverting it the opposite direction is, you know, like the minorest of adjustments. So use it, and you know, you'll appreciate it. Sorry about that. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and trace that guy again. Throw a little color on him, so that we're starting to get the sensibility of what the character looks like. And what we want our Chester to look like. So we make the whole piece a little bigger. We're still on our reference layer. And as we figured out just a minute ago, Chester's not difficult to draw. He's just a series of, whoops, boy, that's a good straight monster brush. All right. Not difficult to draw at all. Well, we got the guy's big tongue here. This one's cool because we got the fire coming out of his mouth. That's going to be fun to draw. And we can see inside his mouth, which is always fun to draw on a character. If you hold a line for a second, Procreate, it becomes a perfectly straight line. Now this guy's a soft character, but teeth are like really a good place to do that. You know what I mean? So then it really looks like their teeth because the lines are pretty straight. This was a great update in Procreate 4. Come on. Because it was really hard to make a perfectly straight line. Because the, you know, your hand wobbles, you know, that kind of stuff. And I just found it really difficult personally. And then I think other people did, because the next update 4, which was really, has so far been by far the most significant update that has come out for this program, it added a huge amount of things, including text, the snap to circles, and that kind of some really powerful stuff. More brushes, more adjustments, more options. Really, really cool. This program also costs, I think, like $5. Now, of course, you have to have at least a Generation 6 iPad and the Apple Pencil. If you're using Generation 6, you would need the first generation Apple Pencil. If you were using a 7, you'd need the second generation Apple Pencil. There is not much difference between the pencils as far as effect. You know, these guys do pretty much the same thing. So don't sweat that. There's some possibility there might be some subtle differences, but I honestly haven't noticed anything significant at all. So I would say there's a pretty good chance there really, there just wasn't a lot of upgrades. Now, there's an argument that there's nothing wrong with the Apple Pencil, so what do you need an update for? I would agree with that. If it's working, why change it? Right? Looks pretty good. Click in here, we should see the color we used on Chester before. Grab it and throw it in here. Whoa, there you go. That's what happens if your shape is not completely closed. In here, there was a little spot where it wasn't closed. See that? So then it bleeds into the background and it makes not a closed shape. Looks like all over here we got closed. And you know, we try again. Still not a closed shape. Well, either way, we can just use our brush and get in here. That one's a little brighter. A little bigger. And just throwing this in for reference. What we'll absolutely do is, get some different oranges in here so that it doesn't look so monochromatic. All right. Okay, so now we back off, turn off our reference, and you see that we have a couple of slightly different images of this character. We're going to take a look at another one. Whoops. Get back on this image layer. There we go. Make this one a little bigger. So this one is definitely from video. Make him a little bigger. But this one's kind of a cool, sort of hot roddy kind of pose, that I could absolutely imagine painting on the truck, So we're going to trace this guy, especially because this guy gives us his full body to work with. We don't want to go over what we've already created. But we got room for a little Chester Cheetah skateboarding action, right? All right, you turn off your arrow, you get in here and you place a new layer above that one, and then we just get in real quick and trace. Now we already kind of figured out how his face works, so we're gonna mostly work with his body. He's pretty close to a stick figure. And he's really drawn, what I would call filmation reality, with the paws being like that and that kind of stuff. You know, he's got elbow pads on, which is pretty funny. Definitely a really skinny character in big sneakers. The big sneakers are without a doubt pivotal. You gotta have those. This is actually the way I draw sneakers if I'm drawing sort of like graffiti-ish, cartoony. Alright. Get his knee pads in there. Now, a funny part of this character is that he's a little chubby. Got a little belly on him. I don't know if that's how cheetahs are, but I doubt it. Lines there were definitely too wide. Alright. Just went a little too far there. Back to our brush. We got most of that going on. We got his other arm. We know that his arms and stuff are very simple. His hands are very simple. This is cool because it's like a different sort of emotion. The other one is they're both kind of like screaming. And this one he's more like going, oh, like maybe being cool. Important to get a few poses and stuff depending on what you're working on. I always call it the camera. You know, you want to move your camera around as much as you can because you want to find the ideal shot. You know, if anybody out there knows who Todd McFarlane is, he is the king of exciting camera work. His Spidey book in the late 80s was definitely one of the most well-shot comics ever. If you guys ever get a chance to see that, the opening panel is so Spidey. I don't think anyone's ever had the skill to draw it that good. It's amazing. Leg down there. Alright. Well, we didn't throw a skateboard in. Do we need the skateboard? Let's leave the skateboard out for right now. We take out that guy. See what we missed, if anything. Looks like we did pretty good. Looks like in here we got a little bit of his mouth open. Alright. And his nose is black. Wonder if we could do the drag stunt. Oh yeah, look at that. That worked out really good. Alright. See if it works on the shades. Nope. Oh, how about his body? Nope. Looks like I didn't do a lot of closed shapes there, you guys, like I'm basically supposed to do. But this is not a bad sketch of where we want, what we want our character to kind of look like. Now the piece we want to create is long and skinny, right? Because we got the roof, the whole roof of the truck. So we have to decide. Do we want Chester laying down, chilling, which would be this head here? Or what? This little ribbon is to clip something or to select something. So in this case, I'm going to select the hipster head of Chester. And then here you can say copy and paste, and that's what I want to do, right? And then you go in here and you see that this layer is just Chester's head. So we can turn off the one we drew and we have just Chester's head. I want to go in here with the eraser, just take away his hand that we caught a little. Got to be careful to be paying attention to. Oh. Do a look. All right. Get right up in. So this is the opacity on the brush you're using. So an eraser has opacity too. We can erase just a little, tone down the opacity of an individual piece. It's really great. And then, like, I know a lot of folks who like to draw deductively, like Scratchboard, and being able to turn your eraser up and down is very powerful. All right. So let's just jump in here and make sure we didn't miss any in our Chilster pose. Whoops. Oh, that's what it is. I actually want this one. Looks pretty good. Got to take out a little bit more of this background just to have it out. Like, we don't need Chester's body in the head drawing. Then we want to jump in with another one. All right. Alrighty. There's his nose. Now we take a look at these. Right, now we got nothing but his head, right? So we can grab the brush, the arrow tool, and we can place him right there. So now we're going to get into sort of sketch mode. Any number of things we could do with them. The first thing I want to try is him kind of laying in a lawn chair, chilling. I need a little bit more brush for that. What are we using? Let's go with the FUD brush. The elder brush, I just did a piece using the elder brush, and it worked out really good. Oh, you got to find out the best size to work with. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. That's not bad. So what if we said that Chester was laying down. This. One leg up, one leg straight, and then we know his feet are pretty simply drawn. Give him some nice big claws since he is a cheetah. Don't jump to details, because that's not what it's about, obviously. Like, what we're working on right now is absolutely not anything to do with details. Now we know his legs are very, very skinny, because if we look in here, we've seen what his legs look like, and that he's got big kicks on. We haven't seen his feet, because he mostly has sneakers on. I think he has sneakers on in, like, all these shots. Oh, yeah. Those are very funny. Maybe these are his feet inside of a sneaker. I don't know. It's pretty funny, though. All right, so we're going to keep drawing here. Like I said, don't rush to detail. Try to just screw around. See what you can make. Now, his legs are very skinny. I have a hard time drawing really skinny things. All my characters tend to be really heavy. I have no idea why that happens. You don't have to erase a lot in this phase, because all we're really doing is laying things out. Like, we want this guy to be like in a lawn chair. Right. that is, that he's chilling on. This might be a good place for the straight line, and then maybe it'd be another straight line through here. All right, another one. Let's try something here. If we go in here and click Canvas, I believe, and hit Drawing Assist, we can use this, which is a perspective tool, and we're saying we want the perspective to be there. So all we need to do now is take these lines, right, like just take this shape right out and try to build it again using our perspective guide. Helps out, right? So now we know we want his chair. Hey, let's try something different. Edit drawing guide. So this time we want it to be kind of over here, right? And then we say done. All right. So now when we say done and we go over here to draw the chair, we have a reference of what to use. Right? All right. So now we know we want this to go like that. Right. All right. Let's try a little bit more. Let's go undo. Let's grab this guy and bring him all the way down here. Get our straight line. Get this guy and bring him all the way down here. I apologize for the sideways camera. I feel like that was kind of a mistake today, but I'm excited still to be with you guys. Then we can take these lines and connect them. And now we have a chair that is perfectly in perspective. We can also take this guy and bring him up here a little. Right? And I think actually, let's wait on that. Let's go in here and say Edit Drawing Guide. And say Assisted Drawing. Whoops. And say Done. So I think the deal with that is, see, it holds on to which way your perspective should go. So I think we're going to try that here. Here. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go all erase this whole deal. Oh. We're erasing symmetrically as well. Or in a perspective, It's pretty funny. So all this thing is, all I'm doing here is just trying to take a look at how I would want to build the lawn chair for the reclined pose. Since really, it isn't even a lawn chair. It's whoop. So see, this guy would look really, really drawn out. So we're gonna use that. Grab a new layer right there and move back a little bit. Now this time we want to change exactly where our vanishing point is easy for me to say, because for this one we want him to be a little more, have it be just a little more reclined. All right. There we go. All right, so that's pretty much what we're looking at right there. Whoop. Say done. Now we got these perspective lines thrown in. We're on a new layer, and we want to go down here. Oh, did we turn that off? Yeah. Got to turn that on each time, apparently. All right. Bring this one down. Think we gotta change our perspective guide a little bit. Oh no, we need the new layer. Alright, let's go in here and edit our drawing guide again. We want our perspective to, don't want it too close because then it'll be really forced. We want it to be really, I guess, and kind of really far away. Gotta remember to flip that key down there. Oh. Alright. Try this one. Alright. I think that's just what I want to do with it. I want to just keep my horizontal lines where I want. So then we're going to go back in here, edit. Whoop, you can just say click, and we just say turn drawing guide off. And then it's gone. And then we can just do the same thing we were. Whoop. What was that? Alright. Apparently you need to, whoops. Apparently you need to turn that off before you turn the drawing guide off. Otherwise it continues drawing that way. Whoop. Alright, we got that line pretty good and straight. That line pretty good and straight. Take this one, which has our dude's face on it. Which one was the one we were going to use? Right. Alright, so for this one, we're going to go in here at freehand, again, just to be able to use our reference, and then down here you want to say copy paste, and then turn that guy off. Take a look in here, we have another selection with that on it, so we can turn off our sketch and go back over here and move this guy in where we kind of want him to be, right? And go back to our brush. Just that one. So let's work on that right there for a layer. And we just try to think about what we'd want the guy to look like. Maybe we could do this, right? Go up in here, go there. Now say man, in on You'll find today, I think all of us default to Google for images, and I would remind everyone that there is, of course, books. Remember those? They're pretty good. Not sure this will work, but we're going to try. I guess you can't do it that way. Maybe you can. Oh wait, it's like this. There it is. Cool. So now with this one, we want to say flip horizontal because that's what we're working with. And then we want to bring it out real big and take a look at it. This is a good pose for our guy. We're going to make him with a controller in his hand, I think. But this is not a bad piece of reference. So we go back to this layer that we're working on and just take a look at this character. Oh. We could even do this actually. We select our reclined guy. That's funny. There we go. So we grab this guy and we put him right here. We make him bigger like we want our Chester Cheetah character to be. Right. Then we take this off. We go in here, tap that layer, bring the opacity way down, and then go back to our brush. So now we actually have this character's pose. Alright. That's the layer we want to be on. So we got, like, you know, some of what we could make the character's body look like. Real loose. You know, we're going to have to change a lot of this because, you know, it's going to be Chester Cheetah. We got all of his body here. Oh. Okay. So now this, of course, is just a reference layer. Well, we're just sketching anyways. I want to add another layer. Let's say, you know, we want Chester's arms to be much longer and skinnier. Alright. This is the layer we want to be on. This is the information we want to take away. In fact, over here too. If Chester's going to have this pose, we're going to need his arm to be much longer. Now, of course, we're going to need his body to be much, much longer and skinnier too. So this background stuff is just to get us moving. Right, really skinny. Right. Let's throw up another his body reference just so we can see it. Hey. Huh. Okay. Yeah. He is really skinny. In fact, I think it's we're gonna have to erase most of this just to try to build up his skinniness. Once you start getting your heads wrapped around, start getting your head wrapped around just how hip he is, it seems to be making it a bit easier to draw him. So if we come out here on the side of his, this little bump here, actually if your hands were behind your head, it would be more like thumb would be down, right? Which would mean hand up. This little piece that he's got on his thumb. And this stuff up here. He has basically an absolute stick arm, except for that. I'll jump back a little bit. So, because these things should be kind of straight, right? Bring it around. Bring it in there. If this is how wide he's going to be, then we do not have his arm long enough. Right? Well, we're getting there. Right. You know, when folks are laying like this, you can see inside their armpits pretty good. Mm. Doesn't really say much about his feet underneath his sneakers. Just gonna go with a foot. Your basic foot. Jump back in here in our little some of our perspective guides, just so we can take them out of his face, so we can take a look at that. All right, a little bit more over here. Just the stuff that overlaps his body. Definitely helps to get your head wrapped around where you want things to go. If our setup lines go away, you know what I'm talking about. So this is kind of moving along, you guys. You know, like I think it's kind of going okay. Unfortunately, we're basically out of time. I have just a few minutes. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna think about what the guy would look like if he was standing up racing. So we want to try something like that, right? So we're just going to say our character's face we know is basically like this. We got his shades up here, you know what I mean? So we got his big nose there. And we know he's a pretty smiling character. Now this time we want him to have his arms down here. Put a steering wheel right there. Got both sets of arms. Alright. Now we want his simple little body, including his gut, to be driving this thing. And we'll throw in up here. We'll call it all right. So what we want for this one is we want to just take a look at our spot. We can always take a picture of the RC truck. I was just hoping, you know, maybe it would be here. If not, we'll just grab the RC truck and take a picture of the top of it. right, so we go back into Procreate and we go in here and say add and say take a photo. Man, that thing is dirty. All right. Let's go with use photo. All right. So now we want to turn this guy off. Well, let's turn it back on because we want to make it a lot bigger so the image we're working with will kind of fit. And then we turn this off and we go in here and take a look at it. We want to take this layer and put it in front of that layer, and we want this layer fingers. Alright, and then we can bring down our opacity on that layer a bit. Alright, there we go. So now we want to go into our this layer. And we just want to bring it down to take a look at what it would look like. Which way do we go? Alright. Another thing we want to do is we're going to take another photo. Like that. I'm going to say use photo. And now this one, we're going to clip out using our clip tool, freehand. Whoops. You want to turn it off and on if you make a mistake. So now we want to say copy and paste, and we can go in here, and what we just took it out of, we can delete. All right. So now we got this one. For the moment, I want to turn off the background, and I want to use this tool to move this around. Make it a little bit bigger so that it goes off to the edge. All right, turn those off. Turn that off. Lower the opacity on that. All right, there we go. So we want this guy to be driving this thing, so we want to bring him down to it a little. All right. So now we're on the layer we're working on. We got the same brush we were using. If you make a line and you don't feel like you have it just in the right place, at the end of making it, you just hit edit line. You just go back to your brush and you're good to go. All right, guys, so that's about all we have time for today. I will be back tomorrow on Facebook from 12 to 2 at the Greenhouse Graphics page. I'm not sure we'll be continuing this project. We may be doing more collage. I have another collage ready to go, so we may do that. If anybody has any thoughts or comments, please throw them over. And